Good morning, everybody. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of President Hanlon and the Office of Human Resources. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today as we gather to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I hope you have been enjoying the great food provided by the Hanover Inn and that you're having the chance to meet some new colleagues from across campus. This year marks the 10th year that we have provided this breakfast as an opportunity for staff and faculty to come together to recognize the work and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and also to contemplate and reflect on Dartmouth's commitment to diversity and inclusion, and what we can all do within our own roles at Dartmouth to appreciate the differences and make our workplaces and our community welcoming to all. Before I introduce today's featured speaker, Theodosia Cook, I'm delighted to introduce Evelyn Ellis, who is the Vice President for Institutional Diversity and Equity at Dartmouth College. She will perform Lift Every Voice and Sing. Please join me in welcoming Evelyn Ellis and accompanying her on piano, Walter Cunningham Jr., Director of the Dartmouth College Gospel Choir.
You are seasoned. You know what we're going to do. I will sing the first two verses, and then with much joy, as last year, you will jump up, and you will join me in verse number 3. And no excuses, the words are on your table. And I know that we have all had, many of us had a really tough year. This has been a tough year. And when I woke up thinking about singing this morning, I thought, what a tough year it's been. And then I thought about Marian Anderson, an incredible singer, and what years she must have had. So it is with so much joy that I join my colleague Walt, and we sing this incredible song.
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. They sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we trod, bitter the trusting rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat upon our weary feet, come to the place from which our people sigh. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading the path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the
Wow, that was beautiful. Great job, everybody. As many of you know, we like to have a member of the Dartmouth community as our guest speaker. This year's guest speaker embodies the theme of fierce urgency of now. Theodosia Cook has aligned her career to her passion and commitment to education, program development, and community building. As the Assistant Director of Special Projects at Dartmouth, she supports all of the affiliated and shared interest groups, along with Women of Dartmouth. She is also the House Fellow for the Latin American, Latino, and Caribbean Studies Residential Affinity House, often referred to as LALAX. Prior to her employment at Dartmouth, Theodosia worked in the K-12 education system as a professional development teacher and union representative, supporting over 50 staff members in high-need schools right outside of Washington, D.C. She has served as a board member for the Posse Foundation and Friends of Returned Peace Corps Volunteers of Guyana. Theodosia holds a BA in Political Science from Sewanee, the University of the South, and an MA in Education Leadership from the Teachers College, Columbia University. Please join me in welcoming today's guest speaker, Theodosia Cook.
Thank you. So I wrote down my speech, so I won't get offhand. But I'm excited to be here in this room with you guys today. How many of you were able to attend Tim Wise's speech on Saturday? Just a quick show of hands. Okay, just a few. It's okay. It was his first time at Dartmouth, and I was able to attend the event. And I won't lie, I was scouting the room to see who was there, to see who came to listen, to learn, or get extra credit. Today, I am looking out in this room, and I see each and every one of you. And I want to thank you, first and foremost, for attending this event. I always joke with my friends that any event that has free food at Dartmouth, I'm going to be there. So I hope that you're not being me today, and you're actually here to actively partake in honoring the legacy of King. If you have pen and paper near you, feel free to take it out. Because what I'm sharing today are my intimate thoughts and feelings and descriptions of my journey through life. I might say some things that you agree or disagree with, or that you may need to wrestle with. Don't let these things just be a thought. Write them down or put them in the notes section of your phone and come back to them. Talk about these written thoughts with me, with your friends, your family, your perceived enemies. Let us celebrate MLK's legacy by acting on it. So I didn't see anyone take out a phone, paper, pen, just saying. All righty. Since I received the ask to be the speaker today, I thought long and hard about what I want to say. My mind, it has raced with what it means to grow up being Black in America, being a Black woman in America, an Afro-Latina, a Black immigrant, a Black human being. I've thought about my lack of primary and secondary education on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., only being taught about his safe, I have a dream speech, and gratefulness I felt going to college, and at least having 2 professors of color teach me about my Black skin and the history of those who had it before me, and then the pain I felt when they departed due to not receiving tenure or knowing that the environment that they were in was too hostile for radical thoughts. I thought about how even saying my black skin, my black hair, my black body, my black life matters is dangerous rhetoric. Yet it is nonviolence. It is nonviolent rhetoric and words that make me realize I'm worth it. I'm worth being loved, appreciated, and valued. I thought about the 94% of black women who voted against what I see, and dare I say what Dr. King would have seen as hatred and division, and the 53% of white women who voted for. And trust me, I know 47% of white women didn't vote for it, and they're sitting here in this room. I thought about how the civil rights movement in America impacted every movement after it and encouraged the Latinx and African diaspora, especially my own country, to gain its independence from our colonizer in 1966. My mind had raced to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street being burnt to the ground, along with other black wealthy neighborhoods in America being terrorized and which forced the violent stop to black generational wealth. I thought about Coretta Scott King, how she from the grave is able to educate me on the past actions of someone who may be our future attorney general. And then I thought of Dr. King's notes in his room concerning the upcoming sermon titled, Why America May Go to Hell. These things weighed heavily on me as I thought about how to best articulate the fierce urgency of now. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke truth. King said, "We Southern Negroes believe that it is essential to defend the right of equality now. From this position, we will not and cannot retreat." When you encounter someone who is so defiant about their right to equality, do you think that they are dangerous? I have known this campus, this country, to take offense to words, to nonviolence, which is why we celebrate King, right? Yet why today, America, are you still so afraid of nonviolence? When we protest in the streets, as King did, when we write petitions, as King did, when we ask questions, as King did, when we love ourselves as King loved us. Maybe the FBI was right. He was the most dangerous man in America because he fought against the systems and the people that oppressed him and others. And maybe, as I stand here today, I may be labeled as dangerous too. I lay my story before you as the girl born in Guyana, South America, in a neighborhood called Warlock. In a 3-room house with over 10 occupants. I must mention, though, that I am not the norm, nor am I your token to be praised above any other person, especially those who are descendants of American slavery. I am the exception. Escaping poverty does not happen to everyone. I was given opportunities. People willingly and actively gave up some of their privilege, which they still retained, to help me make it out of poverty. And it may have been because they thought I was the safe choice. They thought that I wasn't like my black and brown brothers and sisters. Immigrating to America at a young age, I learned very early on that the worst thing you could be in America was black. I never wanted to identify as African American. I held on to my accent and proudly declared I came from Guyana, a country that had nothing but leaders of color. Can you believe that? At a young age in America, I knew you despised my skin, and I separated from it. And I separated from my sisters and my brothers who, through forced involuntary slave migration, were just dropped off in a different place. The young me didn't know the majority of slaves ended up in South America. I just knew in America, you try to assimilate fast. You try to be like white middle-class America. You don't try to be African American. Because everything you see, from the news to magazines to our classrooms, tell us we aren't good or even good enough. I remember when that changed. I was in middle school, and I wondered, why did almost all the students in the magnet program not look like me? There were 2 African American students, and the other handful, yet majority, were black students of immigrant descent. I remember thinking, how did they get into the program? Why didn't I know about it? I began to investigate the divides in our schools. I saw that the magnet classes and honor classes were filled with financially privileged students and majority immigrant black and brown minorities, myself being one. I saw that the special education classes were filled with poor students and black and brown boys, most of whom were in there due to behavioral problems. I mean, poverty, which causes hunger, which can lead to anger, which can cause so many other things, was at times the reason that students were labeled. Did they not have every right to be angry? They were in America and hungry. I remember feeling different from my female peers. I saw that as a black girl, if I wore shorts or a skirt to school, it was a problem. But if my white peers did it, they weren't asked to stop in the middle of the hallway and do the finger length test, as we were humiliated into doing. This was middle school America. This was 6th through 8th grade. From 11 to 14 years old, I was a child. And I noticed the differences, and it woke me up. I started to speak back, to highlight inequities, to question the environment I was in. This was my first step. I questioned out. I continued questioning out throughout high school, but college made me question in. I was fortunate enough to receive the Posse Foundation Academic and Leadership Scholarship. I must say there's no program like the Posse Foundation that trains students, staff, and faculty to look into themselves and reflect on how you personally contribute to the inequities of your environment, as well as teaches you to survive it in a healthy, sustainable way. I am so grateful that Posse was there to help me get through college. I went to college in the South. Now, before you place judgment on the South, I must say I appreciate the South for at least knowing its history, whether they choose to disregard it or not. I appreciate the honesty about where they stand, because in the North, people act like segregation or de facto segregation didn't or doesn't exist. So, there I was in the South. And I remember how our liberal arts school encouraged us to break down the barriers of town versus gown by going out in the community and listening, learning, and volunteering. There I was in the Appalachian region, and I realized America didn't just dislike black and brown people. They hated their own white, poor people. I remember calling my mother and telling her, Mom, did you know there are people here digging for coal to warm their houses? Mom, I'd rather be poor in Guyana because at least we take care of each other. But if America can forget poor white people, I know they can forget black and brown people too. It was in the South, in the Appalachian region, that I realized poverty was another beast to handle. And it was in the best interest of low-income white people to remove the racial barriers and come together with us to fight, because we could help each other break down the system of oppression. I wonder, though, America, when will that happen? Or have you sold the story to white poor America that you sold me as an immigrant? That the worst thing you can be in America is black. That the worst thing you can align yourself to are black people. So never associate yourself with them. Vote against them, even if it means hurting yourself. What shook me into loving myself in college as an African American was not only learning about black history beyond just the month of February or on days like today, but it was doing research on what happens to my future children or their future children if they choose to stay in this country. Do they benefit off of being a black immigrant, overrepresented in top institutions of higher education? The answer is they eventually fall into the statistics of the descendants of American slavery. That made me wake up. Wake up to realize in a selfish way that I had to act for my future. I chose to take in all of my African American and African diaspora history in college, which gave me pride and an understanding to move forward. I chose to continue to question and propose change in spaces that were not inclusive. College is what made me take pride in the grit of being African American. I woke up every day in college and looked at myself in the mirror and told myself, you are beautiful, you are smart, and you belong here. But even though I repeated those words to myself, my college at times still left me and others to take on the fight when I was just supposed to be having fun, enjoying college. But how could I enjoy it if it wasn't originally built for me and it wasn't willing to change fast enough to accommodate me? I know that this has been felt by students on this campus, but it has also been felt by employees in the workplace, here and afar. At times, I am tired of oppression and the war that wages externally, but most importantly, the one that wages internally that Du Bois mentions as double consciousness. As MLK said, there comes a time when people get tired. There comes a time when people get tired of being trampled over by the iron feet of oppression. Now, you might be thinking, what about forgiveness? Isn't that what MLK taught us? Forgiveness? Forgiving genocide, forgiving internment camps, forgiving slavery, having part or all of your country stolen from you. I look at Native Americans, Asians, Latinos, and black people who still earn the least and are still oppressed in this country and think you are amazing for forgiving. We are amazing people. We've been taught to forgive. That's why we take up nonviolence. We've been taught to see the good in white America. Despite our past, we've been taught to love the descendants of those who killed and enslaved our ancestors. So why, America, won't you give us the common courtesy back? Why won't you love us, be kind to us, act for us, think good of us as we think of you? My whole life has been about fighting for the least of us in every situation, and that fight is not over. In King's The World House, he states, "We have inherited a large house, a great world house, which we have to live in together, black and white, Easterner and Westerner, Gentile and Jew, Catholic and Protestant, Muslim and Hindu, a family unduly separated in ideas, culture, and interest, who, because we can never again live apart, must learn somehow to live with each other in peace." As globalization and technology allows us to see and connect with each other more, how will we connect on our differences and yet know and work against racism, poverty, homophobia, sexism, and all the other isms? How will we do it? I ask you today to wake up, to question the environments you are in, then take courage to question yourself and how you may contribute to that environment, as I did as an immigrant, and then act to make the world house a better place for us all. You've heard my story of questioning my blackness. You've heard my story of realizing poverty is a problem. You've heard me question my environment and myself and then act. King said, one of the great liabilities of history is that all too many people failed to remain awake through great periods of social change. Every society has its protectors of the status quo and its fraternities of the indifferent, who are notorious for sleeping through revolutions. But today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change. I believe we are in the new civil rights era of our time, and some of us are yet to wake up. Waking up is not just realizing it's there, it's doing something about it. I don't need you to empathize. I need you to act. I need you to be afraid, but still say something, do something. King felt fear. I mean, the man died, got murdered, shot. He felt fear for his people, for the poor, for the oppressed. It's what caused him to act. America, don't sit here and honor his legacy without honoring truth and admitting we are still fearful of nonviolent activism. Yet we preach that MLK is the savior, is the right one, because he practiced nonviolent activism. We are still fearful of words. We try to stop messages and thoughts from being shared. It reminds us that we are not all okay, that we still have barriers to break. I leave you with King's words. We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. This is no time for apathy or complacency. This is a time for vigorous and positive action. Thank you.
Theodosia, thank you for those inspiring remarks. Before we close, I would like to recognize the work that many have contributed this morning. Please help me thank the Hanover Inn staff, many folks in conference events, media production group, HR, and communications. Thank you. Additionally, I'd like to give special thanks to Evelyn Ellis and Walter Cunningham for sharing their musical talents. Again, to Theodosia and the Institutional Diversity and Equity Conferences and Special Events for the leadership in arranging an amazing program of events to celebrate the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King. I encourage each of you to look online. There's a link, www.dartmouth.edu/MLK, and it has a list of all of the other inspiring events taking place this week. So again, thank you for coming. Have a great day.